What's up, everybody? Clinton Foshee here, and
I'm Albert Chavez.
And this is Front Porch Chronicles. And guys, we have OG Bobby King on today. Tune in. This is kind of where I relate to you, and honestly, I relate to you and I'm a big fan of you, not really for the fighting stuff because that's cool and stuff, but I know a lot of fighters and stuff like that, but I, like you, had a really fucked up childhood and I had a lot of stuff that went on and, you know, there was a lot of chaos in my life. And so I could have went left with that at any point. And every statistic tells me I should be in prison, dead, or, you know, just a piece of shit person, right? And, you know, I run a successful real estate business, you know what I mean? And so for me, you know, Albert, when I said we were going to have you on, I said, man, he does all the research. He's the brains. And I said, hey, do you know the whole story behind why and he said, no. And I said, well, I want you to watch this. So I popped up a video of you kind of telling about your past and your upbringing. And afterwards, his jaw was just dropped because our stories are very similar to a lot of stuff going on and every reason to not be positive. And so my admiration from you, again, doesn't come from the knockouts, doesn't come from, you know, you getting in there and fighting, which is a hard job to do. But, you know, because you choose to be and do better and be a good father and be a good man, those to me make you, you know, up here and forever me a fan, you know, of you. So.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, brother, you know. And that's my whole intentions is to, like, show people that we can come from the darkest places, you know, and give them light and motivation that they don't succumb to their feelings, you know, because all those things tell you in the back of your head, I could be a piece of shit. I could have jumped out and went crazy on somebody, you know. But it's just it's like you need some more people like yourself to and me to like, hey, we had the same opportunities and we didn't take that way. We went this way, you know. And so putting that out there and motivating those people to have something else to look forward to.
Yeah, it's huge, and not enough people speak on it because it's men, and this is something where you'll relate to me on, especially when you go through all of these things. You have this built up anger and rage as a kid, and we're not really taught how to
Communicate and stuff like that.
Yeah, to articulate those things. So it comes out in aggressive manners. So when people do things to us, we feel like we're being attacked. So the only way that we know it's like when we're attacked is to attack back. It's you know what I'm saying? It's what we're taught. You know what I mean? And so that's why, like, for me, one of the reasons we started this podcast was because we wanted to get to know fighters on a deeper level and kind of so that people can understand that these people don't just get into a cage. There's some people that go through very tough upbringings, very tough times, very tough things, and are being and doing better. You know what I mean? And learning how to deal with those emotions and those feelings, because it's important to see people that are doing positive. And I don't know about you, but for me, it actually gives my life meaning for me to share my story so that way I can help that guy that's getting ready to put a gun in his mouth, getting ready to commit suicide or to give up or to go commit a crime and spend their life in prison because they don't know how to process those emotions.
Just letting them know that they're not alone. Everybody feels like, no, you don't understand because you haven't been through it, you know? You couldn't understand what I'm going through. But until they actually could see someone else that season, bro, I've been there. I know this feeling, this, and this. Feels like this, and I know you're going through this, and yeah, I get it. And so if you can't make them feel and understand that they're not alone, you know?
Yeah, it's a big thing, and especially with a platform like you, because you know, you're an international. I mean, you fix and take it. You're an international superstar. You know what I mean? And so, but the thing again about you, you don't act like that. You don't act like you're better than people. You don't act like, hey, I'm this guy who thinks that you know, of course, in the octagon, you have to have that dog where you think you're gonna go in there and fight anybody, but you don't have this aura about you where you just walk around and you're like, I'm better than everybody. And so, you know, that's something, you know, a lot of people look at that. Again, for me, I looked at it and I've been wanting to get you on forever. And because when you send a message, it'll come back and say, oh, this person doesn't have. So finally, when it got through, I was like, hell, whatever I need to do to get him on, because I feel like your story touched me. And so therefore I said, you know, it needs to be something kind of we need to get out there for people to see. You know, it doesn't matter race. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm from Alabama. I'm from the backwoods of Alabama. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. You're from the IE. It doesn't matter where you are. You know what I mean? All of us go through savage times, and it's about choosing to do and be better. So
I was listening to some guy on Instagram, and he was just stating how to be hard. Life is just hard, period. Life is hard, and it's just about choosing your hard, you know? You could choose this way where, like, maybe you're going to work in a warehouse and work till you're 65. That's hard. But also, building a business is hard, too. And so, both lives are hard. Choose your hard, you know? Everything's gonna be hard. Everyone thinks it's gonna be some easy life, or they think that maybe because I'm somewhere I'm at, that I'm not dealing with a hard life. No, we still got problems up here and down there. We had problems. It's just we chose the hard.
yeah, and weight cuts, because Lord knows them weight cuts ain't no joke. and so there's always every walk of life has every job. It's what do they say? Nobody has a job with everything that they truly love about it. Everything has a pick and choose of
the grass is always greener, you know.
Yeah, but it's definitely not
exactly.
So diving into that a little bit, if you would would you share a little bit about like your upbringing and kind of some of the things that you've been through, trials and tribulations to get to where you are?
I was in foster care since I was like 4 years old, and so my mom gave me away. She was on drugs. My dad was in prisons. My grandmother was the one who got us, but they didn't know because my mom didn't put my dad on the birth certificate. They didn't know that my grandmother was actually our family, so she was able to collect a check and still take care of us, you know. And so it was like it worked out for her and it worked out for us. And then when I got about 14 years old, she died, you know. And so I started wrestling, and this white family that knew me on the team, they knew I was a good guy. They were like, hey, maybe we should bring him in, you know, maybe we could bring him in. And so I lived with them for a minute, and then once I graduated, I started kind of bouncing around from home to home. I was like 17 years old. I graduated when I was 17, so started coming from this home to this, trying to figure things out. And I was always a natural born fighter. We had always had black and Mexican riots, you know, and I had a Mexican girlfriend. The family down the street used to be this Mexican family I hung out with all the time. So I started developing these things about the Mexican culture. So I hung around with a lot of Mexicans. So black people didn't like me. And then there were some Mexican people that didn't like me. So I didn't fit in either way. So I had fights all the time. And it just kind of like made my whole story is like, I'm a fighter. And then they started knowing, hey, Bobby Green's that guy. He's gonna fight you. If you mess with him, he's gonna fight you. So I kind of developed that reputation, and then like everyone that knows me now still says it to this day. Is like, hey, we knew you were gonna be that, you know, because I just was that guy already. Like, if you mess with me, I'm gonna fight. I nickel and dime. I put it all together. I've been from Mexico back to fighting and stuff, and like that's how I started out, was fighting in Mexico. I would work a 6 days a week in a warehouse. I thought I was gonna be a warehouse guy, and then I would actually leave on my seventh day, which is Saturday. I would go out to Mexico. We go out there, we fight, and it was cool because after you fought, you got to have a little kind of party. You know, you go to the little nightclubs out in Mexico, Tijuana. You know, so you're having a blast.
Bring out the
So
tequila.
you fuck the guy up, and after you're having drinks, and it's cool, you know. Come back from Mexico, made $800. I had to take it, put it away. I had met a woman and she got pregnant within a month of me knowing her. She was at one of the jobs I worked at. And so now I have this kid. I'm scared about being a father. So I just started taking my second job and just pushing it. By the time he was born, I had like $6,000 saved up for him, just in case there was some emergency or anything, we'd have something,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a bit of my story. I don't want to go too long or talk too much,
No,
No,
it's all good, man. And it's funny because like when you say that, so I'm from Alabama. So I dated black women before it was cool to date black women. Like I'm 46 years old, so we're talking about young. So it was a similar story. So that's how I learned how to fight. Like I hung out in the hood because I dated black women, right? So of course, when I went to the hood. Yeah. Dudes from the hood were like, who is this white boy over here? Like, okay, we're going to have to try you. But then when I would go home, they were like, oh, you wigger? Yeah. Like, I'm like, bro, what? Like, I can't just like, it was like.
Bruh. So you can't fit in either crowd.
No, so going back.
I thought the same thing, bro. Like, because I was with white people, I learned, speaking a little bit more proper. And so I'd be around these different people, and then I go back to the hood, and it'll be like one guy always be like, that guy, like he don't like me because of the way I talk, the way I look, I'm a different. I'm standing out kind of like a sore thumb, And so they would pick on me, He'd be the most hoodest, the most craziest motherfucker, And I have to go over there and beat his ass. Then after that, I'll get kind of respect from the streets. Like, okay, don't fuck with him, That guy's crazy.
Exactly. I was the same thing. People
not fitting in.
Yeah. And it goes back to, it kind of is a gift and a curse because we almost put ourselves in those situations where we don't all the way feel comfortable. Because I know for me, I didn't know what comfortability was. I grew up in chaos. So it just after like the past couple of years of me going to therapy and being like, okay, I was so comfortable in chaos, I would almost create chaos within my life because I was so used to that. But then once you step out of it, you're like, you start having kids and it escalates quickly.
You're saying some deep ass shit, bro, that went right over everyone's heads. You're saying something so deep that only because I've been there with you, I'm really reading what you're saying. So I had this white dad, and he would say the same thing. He's like, bro, your life been so chaotic that when things get chill for you, it's like you almost create drama because you're so used to chaos that it's like a normal life isn't normal to you. Like that's too normal. Like it just doesn't feel right. You're used to chaos that it's like you have to keep making shit happen so that you feel normal.
It's almost like a self-sabotage. It's like you put yourself in bad positions because you don't know any different. So that's, going into the octagon, it's almost like when I watch you fight, it's like one of those things that when you come from that type of environment and you come from that type of chaos, it's almost like peace being in the octagon, as odd as that sounds. I know for me, like when I do jiu-jitsu, I'll close my eyes sometimes and I have to tell people up front, I'm like, hey, I'm not slow or like I'm not, it's just the way it's so comfortable for me. It's so comfortable to me in that position because I always had to fight. My dad beat me when I was a kid so much that it was almost like just sparring with somebody to me is way less traumatizing than having my dad beat me at like 4 or 5 years old. You know what I mean? So it's like a comfortability. So, so let me ask you a question. I know you said you started wrestling, you did some MMA down in Mexico or, fighting. When did you at what age did you actually start to like say, hey, you know what? I'm good at this. This is something I want to do.
When I was 21, like I said, I had no choice once I got this girl pregnant. And so I kind of just like, hey, I'm going to take a second job. And then it started taking off. I had $800. The next year they paid me $1,000. Next year they paid me $1,500. Then they were giving me $2,000. I was like, heck, maybe I can keep this thing going, you know? And
Yeah.
so it was my second job that turned to my first job now.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What was it from your childhood, do you think, that made you, or what was it inside you that always makes you choose to do the right thing?
I always say God protected my heart, you know, when I see like everybody else turned. I don't know. Maybe it's just I would say TV. Because I like watched like the Power Rangers, the Ninja Turtles, you know. I was like those guys. Like I wanted to always be like the superhero, you know. And so you're the good guy on the good team, you know. I guess that's always been my thing is being true to your word, being honest and open and fighting on team good. You know, you had two teams. You could be on whatever team you choose. You could be a bad guy. You could be a good guy. I chose to be a good guy because I guess I watched from too much TV. It's like I guess it was social programming that you're supposed to be a good guy.
Yeah. You know, I talked to Mike Tyson one time, and this is what really shifted my head, and you'll be able to relate to this. For many years, I went through so much and I saw so much, you know, I mean, just ratchetness that I almost there was a portion of my life, I felt like, why me, God? Why do I keep having to go through all of this death, all of this chaos, all of this stuff? And it made me, for a long time, it really made me question my faith. Like, does God hate me? Because in our minds, we never really felt loved or good enough. Like we felt like we were passed off and all of that stuff. And I had a conversation with Mike Tyson out at his place in Newport Coast. And he said, God gives those trials and tribulations to the people that he knows not only can handle it, but to be a light to the universe. And bro, it was like, boom. It was like at that point, I knew my mission was to spread my trials and tribulations, not because I think it's cool or not because I want people to be like, oh, that's really cool, because I could really care about less about that. What I want is, again, to save somebody's life, to be a difference in somebody's life, to change somebody's life and make them understand that no matter how bad life gets at times, you can pull yourself up.
Yeah, for me, I would say it was like I would say it would be like I always kept hearing these saying the God gives the strongest battles to the strongest, you know, warriors. I kept hearing that, you know, hearing that in
Exactly.
the back of my head from people saying, maybe God's giving you that because you're stronger, you could take it, you know. But Nipsey Hussle has some famous saying, and it's like he called his brand the marathon. You know, the marathon. This is not just some sprint and you get there to the top. You know, it's a marathon of things it takes to get there. And along that marathon, as you're running, you have all these different emotions, all these different feelings, all these different voices that tell you you're not gonna make it. You can't do it. You got to go through every emotion to be successful. And I just had to understand that, like, when I finally started getting there, I'm like, bro, I went through everything to get here, you know? Everything possibly I could think of, I went through to get to this position.
Yeah.
It's crazy, huh? Like, I think so. I'm 25. I'm way younger than both of you guys, but it's still like crazy how everything we need, everything we think is like so obtainable, like right now, but we don't realize like how long it really takes to get to that high level. Like you're right there, but you also have to be patient enough to accept like I got to go through these trials and tribulations right now, because if I skip it, if I do the easy thing, it's not gonna feel as attainable. And so like you always teach me all the time, like just be patient. It's gonna come. God is showing you the way, but you can't just skip the line. You have to go through this test right now.
You
Yeah.
have to go through it. You got to be tested. You got to go through there. You got to be forged, you know, forged in fire, you know, and that's how you make that toughness. But everybody wants a quick, easy road. And just, I'm an overnight celebrity. There's sometimes I thought it was never going to happen for me. You know, I was almost like giving up at this thing, and I kept trying and I kept trying and I failed 1,000 times. And finally it's like, hey, they like you. I'm like, what? Now I've been in this game 15 years. Like now they want me to get back up and do all this work again. So all right, Funkin, I got a little bit more in my tank. Let me see what I can show you guys.
Yeah, and think about what you're setting up for your kids and watching your kids. I know that's for me is important. I've got 5 of them. I got 3. You know, we talked about kids. I've got one daughter that's biracial black, 1 white, and 3 Latinas. So I got a whole squad.
Shit.
Child support ain't no
I got
joke.
1 black, 1 white, and 1 Latina.
See, look, you see what I keep saying we might be related somewhere down the bloodline. But I think back now at all my trials and tribulations and how much love and admiration that I'm able to pass to my kids. And don't get me wrong, I teach them, and my kids are very aware of the things that I had to go through, but it allows me also to teach them different lessons and kill that generational toxicity that I was passed down,
Man.
you know, you know what I'm saying? Deep level. So know that every time that you do these things, bro, there's so many people and especially your kids that are watching you that I can just tell you how proud of you they are and what you're doing to help change their lives and see them and break in all of these cycles, man, that made you feel that way and giving them all of that love and admiration, man, that's a very moving and powerful thing, man, that you should be very proud of.
Yeah, my kids are my everything, you know? And I'm trying to give them that shed the father figure that I wanted to have to kind of like, all right, he went out there, he busted his ass, and now I follow this, you know. I didn't get that myself, so now can I be that? And at the same time, I never had a dad, so I'm trying to learn myself on how to be a dad, you know. That's a trial and tribulation thing that I learned on my own. Now it's like, whoa, and I want to teach them the wrong things, you know. But I haven't never had anybody else say, well, this is what you teach them, this is what you do, this is how it goes. I'm just learning on my own.
Yeah, and it makes it's hard. I know for me, my dad was such a horrible dad that my guideline is same way. I never had anybody teach me those things.
Don't do what he did.
Yeah,
exactly. Look, so at least I had some sort of blueprint. Is that I could be like, hey, I know, and I catch myself sometimes. Like I catch myself when I'm talking to my kids. I catch myself like, how did I feel whenever he would talk to me in certain so I try to switch the game up when I'm talking to them and say, hey, I know that you see it like this, but let me give you my input and kind of see how, you know, it could be. Because also we're taught, you know, through, like you said, through TV, through all of these things that you're supposed to be this guy and you're supposed to hammer these things in. And man, these kids aren't built like that. And you have to explain to them and kind of, you know, get them to learn all of that stuff. So, but let's get into, you know, I wore the red today. I always rep the red, but I wore this because I'm going to have to make sure that I get this to Dana White. Everybody else is getting their shorts. We've seen the Peloton shorts. We've seen the Hawaiian shorts. We've seen the camo shorts with Bright. When are we going to get your red shorts?
I feel like I'm a little deserving of the shorts, you know. I like to have my little paisley shorts, you know. And they can do them red, they can do them black, they can do them white, whatever color they choose, you know. I don't want them to think like, because I feel like they're a little afraid is that like maybe it's like some gangster stuff, you know. But
Affiliation,
it's like, you can
yeah.
pick the color. It doesn't have to be anything like that, you know.
Yeah, so we're excited about your fight coming up out in Manchester. That's why we brought it up. Is well, one, we want to see you. We can't wait to watch you go out there. We know there's some chatter that was going on between you and Patty. How did that come about? How did your name get in his mouth? Where did that come from?
That's the crazy part about it is like I seen Patty when he was kind of coming up the ranks, and I we just bumped into each other, and I put him on live, and I was like there's Patty right there, you know. What's up, Patty? What's up, Patty? He wouldn't look at me. He wouldn't say anything to me. He wouldn't acknowledge me at all. But now, here it is. I say that was 3 years ago. I've been working my ass off, and now it's like, whoa, Bobby Green, you know? I'm like, what? He mentioned me? Like, he didn't even want to give me a light of a day 2, 3 years ago, but now he sees the value, you know? And so we'll deal with that.
So let me ask you a question. Does that make it a little bit more of a beatdown that you want to give him because he was disrespectful and kind of shun you?
Yeah, he's definitely gonna get a beat down. You know, I'm like Jordan, and I take certain things. I hear him say something, and I put it in the back of my head. And I'm like, I won't forget about that. I'm gonna turn psycho on him. You know, like the last fight with Jim. Jim like said some little things that I'm like, all right, that's enough for me to go. I'm going psycho on you. You know, and so I'm gonna hit the same page with him where he's a lot worse. I like Jim. Imagine what I'm gonna do to that guy. I don't like him, you know. So imagine what I'm gonna do to him. You know, I actually like Jim, and I felt bad for what I did to Jim. I don't even like that guy. He's getting fucked up.
You go receipts, dude. You got to hold on to the streets. It's weird how it's always strange. Like Derek Jeter talks about it too. He's like, I remember what you're wearing, when you said it, how you said it. All the great ones, for some reason, they know they keep that in their bank and they use it for later for motivation. It's so funny, like how like you just use that to take it to the next
Extra
level.
energy. I use that motivation now. I'm like, he got to make him pay for those words. He got to pay for those words.
Levels to the game. So let me ask you a question. I know whenever you guys first started talking about taking this fight, you specifically said you wanted to fight him in England. What was the reasoning behind you wanting to fight him in England?
I wanted to give him every advantage. I wanted to give him every possibility that he could possibly find that he could use, and it would make him favorable for him to take the fight. You know, like, all right, it's in my hometown with my people. You know, I have the chance to go up to take my number because I got the number. He don't got the number, so I'm giving him my number. I'm giving him the crowd base. I'm giving him the hometown advantage. Everything's in his favor. Now let's see how the chips stack up and who wins this fight.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We were talking about it earlier, and Albert was like, when we were bringing up this question, and I said, it's because Bobby doesn't want him to have any excuses. He doesn't want not one excuse, and this is setting up to where everything is supposed to be. The only thing that he didn't plan for is when you come from chaos, the crowd, none of that stuff is, it's going to be mute to you.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's not going to change anything. None of those people can save him. No one can save him. You know, like when those doors get closed, yeah, you could cheer, you could boo, you could do whatever you want to do. But none of that is going to come in this cage and punch for you or make you get out of the way of this fucking punches. You know, none of that can help you. And don't get me wrong, I like the motivation. Like, I felt like, yeah, crowd gets behind you, you can get motivated, but it doesn't help your skills.
It does not help, or it does not help when you catch those blows to the face. It does not help that at all.
That's the thing too. He loves to talk too. Patty is a showman for sure, but man, I don't think he's ready for it at all.
For me, it's like I feel like those are the spoiled kids. Those are the kids that like I used to be mad at Sean O'Malley, but Sean O'Malley earned his right. Now he's earned his right. But certain guys don't realize that they're building you up and they're giving you all the right fights and all the right situations to build you up. And you just shut the fuck up and you enjoy it. But once he had that Jared Gordon fight, I feel like everybody got to see the bad side of him. Like he's a spoiled kid and he's gonna bitch and I'm like, bro, you don't realize you got the fans, you got all these different people, you got the company behind you. Just shut the fuck up, be cool, and love the environment. I didn't get that. I had to go work my ass off, shovel through all this, and dig until to get my opportunity. And so those guys are spoiled and they don't understand these little things that they're getting.
Yeah, I agree. That's most of the guys that do the most talking are the guys who haven't really, like, especially for me, for Patty, he's exactly what you said. He's like a rich suburbanite kid in my eyes. I look at him as like the rich suburbanite kid that ate from the silver spoon, never really struggled a day in their life, and they're up there chitter chattering and whatever. And I'm like, bro, stop. Like, you can't. And so, yeah, I get it. You've earned your
same thing with Ian Gary. Ian Gary right now. Ian Gary, he was running his mouth. He was talking so much. That was the only fight I wanted to watch, was the MVP Ian Gary fight. Like, don't get me wrong, the heavyweight fight, the last main event was great. But I came to see those guys who are fucking running their mouths, and they're supposed to back it up. So I want to see is they're gonna talk all that, and then they're gonna actually back it up. Ian Gary went in there and made a fucking fort fest.
Bro, MVP came in there and stood to his word of punch it. Albert didn't watch that fight. He watched the Peloton, and he was like, well, how did it go down? I was like, it was like a lot of crotch sniffing. And then Ian Gary gets up there and is, bro, he's bragging on himself for out grappling a guy who is notoriously known for a non-grappler. I was shook.
Spoiled kid. He's over here making it seem like he did something great. Like, man, first of all, you lied to your public. And that's what I was trying to get to my young fighters, is don't lie to your public. If I tell them something, I'm going to back it up to the T. And so I never like go out and say, oh, I'm going to go fuck this guy and I'm going to knock him out, or I never say any of that. I say I'm not God and I'm not here to play God. I just know that I'm going to look at my history. And in my history, everybody gets hit a lot. Everybody gets this and gets this. He's going to have damage. This is the facts. I'm not trying to say anything that's like cocky or arrogant and be like, oh, I'm badass. Yeah. Like, no, I'm just going to be human, and anything's possible. You can get caught at any given second. Just be yourself. And some of these guys are trying to do all the talking and the macho, and they're not really macho. Ian Gary did not want to do the man dance. He was hugging and he was shooting, and he looked scared.
He was scared.
Anybody was saying he was the fastest, he was the quickest. He's going to beat him everywhere. I'll beat him everywhere. And then after the fight, to nail the coffin, the nail in the coffin is like, all right, after the fight, he's like, bro, he could have said, not my best showing. It was not a good fight. No, he's like, I knew this was going to happen, and I took him, and it just makes you look like stupid, bro. You look so
bro,
stupid.
did you hear him? He was on there. He was like,
behind you. Just keep it cool.
He was on there. He was like, I've evolved so much, and I'm working with Damian Maia and Charles DuBronx, and I've evolved, and yada yada. And I was like, bro, you evolved. That's like going and grappling against white belts the first day of class and sparring them and being like, oh, I dominated them. Like, bro, this guy wasn't even, he's not a grappler. MVP never once in any of the press conferences like, hey, I'm going to go in here and we're going to make this a IBJJF grappling session. There was never any of that. He said, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to try to put hands on this guy. And he did that. Ian Gary did not. He did not. He did not show up.
Listen to his word. That's important to me. Listen to your word. You can't lie to your public, you know? Like, if I tell everybody, I'm going to go knock him out, I'm going to go knock him out, and I shoot in, it's like, I played my audience. I played the people that actually care to watch my fights. They're like, well, bro, I came to see what you said you were going to do. And now it's like, I played them, you know? And I never want to lie to my public. Everything I say to you is the damn truth. At least of what I believe, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, is in what I believe or what I stand on, what I say.
I say that all the time. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. And I guess that's maybe because so many people throughout my life didn't keep their word. For me, it's something that's so important to me. If I say I'm going to knock you out, I'm either going to knock you out or I'm going to die trying to knock you out. That's just what I'm about. So that's
hell yeah. Same thing for me. Like, I've told people that, hey, I'll buy you a car. And I'm like, oh, why did I say that? Yeah. Because now I got to go live up to this shit, you know? So I'm like, fucking here, just take the car. I'm mad I said this shit.
Exactly. That's why I have to be careful what I say, because if I say it, I'm going to have to follow through on it. So, all right. So we're going to lighten things. We're going to we're gonna lighten things up right quick. We have a what's called rapid fire. So we're gonna ask you some questions. You say the first thing that pops into your head. You ready? On the clock.
Uh-oh.
What
Are you
who
sure
is
you're
your
ready?
favorite?
Are you ready?
Bro,
I don't know.
I'm wrong.
I always gotta go with the second thought. I try not to go with the first one. The first one's like, fuck you.
I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I'm raw and uncut. I don't know no different. So, who is your favorite fighter growing up?
Now we're talking about like MMA, or we're talking period.
Period.
Muhammad Ali.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
Yes, I like it.
What's your favorite travel destination?
Have you ever heard of a spot called Hong Kong? So you have.
Yeah. Don't get us both in trouble.
Okay, then there we go.
Don't get us both in trouble. What's your
As I said, you don't want to hear my answer.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Drunk people.
Ooh,
I can't stand
and
like, 'cause I
liars,
used to work in
and
strip
liars.
clubs. Yeah, that too. But drunk people, like I can't stand being around, like, because I used to work in a club. I used to work in strip clubs, and it's always some drunk guy comes up to me, it's obnoxious, and just from working that stuff, it's like it always bothers me, especially if I'm not drinking with you. Then it's like, all right, you're just in this place, and like they're on their own, and they're just rambling on. I was like, that's my pet peeve, drunk people.
Yeah,
liquid courage.
You gotta be able to
Liquid
drink and handle
courage.
your liquor.
No. Whew.
All right,
Handle your liquor.
what's Bobby Green's favorite cheat meal?
Sushi. My
Ooh,
favorite
yeah.
meal is sushi. Like I have sushi every day of the week.
Me too. And my kids. What's your hidden talent?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I fight good and I fuck good. That's my hidden talent. I'll fuck great.
I tell people that's how I got 5 kids. I'm from Alabama. I'm good at fighting and making babies.
There we go. Exactly. I guess we both got that in common too.
Oh, what is your favorite song? Yeah.
Bro, I'm like, music is my shit. Now I could go 1,000 fucking, like right now my Apple Music, I think I got like almost like 4,000 songs. Like I love music, bro, and I couldn't tell you a favorite song because I have so many fucking songs depending upon the time, depending upon the place. Am I with a guy? Am I with a girl?
Let me tell you what's going to be the walkout song when you come out this next fight. Have you picked it yet?
Bro, I'm still playing with this one. I'm still playing with it, because like kind of in my head was like, I was like, I'm gonna do a show for fucking Manchester. I'm like, do something for Manchester, But then like my people are like, man, they're not gonna like you. You should go over there. You should just come out to this and just fuck everybody. And so I'm like, I don't know how to play it yet.
My second amateur MMA fight, this is what I did. I came and it was in Alabama, where I'm from. And I knew the crowd was going to be behind the other guy. He was a local cop, all of this and all of that. I came out to Sweet Home, Alabama, because you cannot, as a Southern person, you cannot go against Sweet Home. It was the slow version, too, not the Sweet Home. Yeah. They couldn't go wrong with it. Who's your favorite actor?
Yeah, I like a lot of different people. I'd probably say Denzel Washington.
Training Day Denzel?
Yeah. I'm putting bitches on all you bitches.
Mine is everybody says, oh, Denzel. I'm like, which Training Day? Because Training Day is my Denzel that I like the best. Somebody on the other day were like, they were like Equalizer. I was like, I like Equalizer, but I like the Training Day Denzel. So,
what is your favorite TV show? What's your favorite TV show or movie?
TV show. Sheesh. I'm gonna have to go with like The Office.
Yeah, the one where Jim and
Which one?
what's his name? with doing like the snowball pranks and stuff like that, and
Dwight?
then Rainn Wilson's Dwight.
Oh, yeah,
Dwight's
Dwight.
character goes in the snowman and just pelts him to death. Oh, dude, it's so funny.
All right, last one.
Fuck yeah.
If there was a zombie invasion and you had one UFC fighter that you could have on your team, which one would it be?
I'd probably go with Nate Diaz. That's my dog.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
he gonna jump. He ain't finna bitch out. I got your back, you got mine. You take that side, I'll take this side. You know, I know he gonna be
Left side, strong side. Yeah, I like it. I like it. All right, so I know you got training and stuff to do. We're gonna break it off with this one. Is a question we like. This one's kind of deep, so if you need to take a second, take a second. If today was your last day, what is the thing that you would want Bobby Green to be remembered for?
I would probably say my fortitude, you know, my never quit attitude, you know, and that's what I'm trying to show to people that's trying to inspire and motivate. I never quit. I never gave up. I got tested so many times. I just never gave up. And that's the difference between me and a lot of guys. It's just I never quit.
Yeah, for me, it would definitely be your resilience. Again, you've had so many things, so many pain, so much chaos and trauma, and you choose to do the right things, and you choose to be a good person, and you choose to put out a good energy. And for me, that's why you'll forever have a fan in me, because with every reason to go left, you went right, and that's a hard thing to do. So you get mad respect from me for that. And I appreciate you being the man that you are and actually speaking on and having the umph to talk about your trials and tribulations, because it means a lot to the people.
Yeah, brother, I'm an open book, you know, I got nothing to hide. I'm hoping somebody will catch something and grab it and use it for themselves, you know, because I didn't have nobody else to look to like that at certain times, you know, and so maybe I could be the light for some of these poor, broken kids, you know, and let them know, hey, you're not the only one, and you can change your stars.
You already have, you just don't know it, and you're going to change a lot more lives. Keep being you, bro, authentically you, and know that there's a lot of people out there that love and admire you, not just for the fighter, but the man that you are, and we appreciate you.
I really appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an honor, especially that you support me and that you've been in this stuff with me. You know, I won't let you down. I'm going to go in there and fight and do exactly what I do. I'm going to still be the same person regardless of what happens to me. Nothing will change the person who I am, and which is Team Good.
We appreciate you,
Bobby.
brother.
We appreciate
Take it
you.
easy. Thank you so much.